Last year, I was standing on Main Street, early morning, castle right in front of me, the music playing, and I realized I was waiting to feel something that I used to feel automatically. And that honestly scared me a little. Because if 30 years of loving Walt Disney World can start to feel different, what does that actually mean? I'm Lee with All About the Duck. And if you're new here, I'm a Disney travel agent, a DVC member, and I've been going to Disney World for over 30 years. And because I love it, I want to have an honest conversation about it today. No resort tour, no ride rankings, just something I think a lot of us are quietly feeling but not quite saying out loud. Let's talk about it. To understand why a few things feel different now, you have to remember what it felt like before. When I started going to Disney World, the experience was almost entirely analog. You walked in with a paper ticket and got a paper map, and the plan was going to fall apart by 10 a.m., and that was fine. There was something about not knowing what was exactly around the next corner that made everything feel fun and a small discovery. You stood in line and you talked to strangers. You shared the wait with people. Cast members would come through the queue and do something unexpected. There was breathing room built into the experience, whether you wanted it or not. The parks felt big in a way that's hard to explain. Not physically bigger, but experimentally bigger. Because you weren't optimizing, you were just there. I remember standing on Main Street at closing time when I was younger, watching the lights come on as the crowds thinned out, and feeling like the park was letting me in on a secret. Like Disney World had two versions, the daytime one everybody saw, and the quieter golden hour version that only the people who stayed got to witness. That feeling, that specific feeling, that's what I'm chasing every time I go back. So what actually changed? The easy answer is technology, and that's part of it. The My Disney Experience app, Lightning Lane, Genie Plus, mobile ordering, virtual queues. There's an entire layer of digital management sitting on top of the park experience now that didn't exist before. And managing that layer takes mental energy that used to go towards being present. I remember one trip when we bought Genie Plus, and then I realized something that honestly bothered me. I was sitting in the middle of a ride, actually on the ride itself, and instead of enjoying the moment, instead of being present with where I was, I had my head down, staring at the My Disney Experience app, trying to grab our next Lightning Lane before the return times disappeared. And I remember thinking, what am I missing right now just to plan the next thing? That was the last time I ever bought Genie Plus. Because in that moment, Disney started feeling less like a place I was experiencing and more like a system I was managing. But here's what I think really changed. And this is something I've been sitting on a while. Disney World used to feel like an escape from the real world. Now it sometimes feels like a more expensive version of it. You still have to-do lists. You still have decisions to make under pressure. You still have notifications. The friction is different, but it's still friction. And the crowds feel different too. Not just bigger, different in character. Post-pandemic Disney drew a wave of first-timers and bucket list visitors who've been saving up for years. The parks are fuller than they've ever been, which is wonderful for a lot of reasons. But it changes the texture of the experience in ways that are hard to ignore. The spontaneity that used to define a Disney day, just wandering, stumbling into something, deciding on a whim to ride something twice, that's harder now. Everything feels more scheduled, more managed, more intentional. And sometimes intentional is the enemy of magical. But here's what I want to be really clear about, because I don't want to come across as another complaint video. It's not. There are things about Walt Disney Worlds that are still completely and utterly unlike anything else on earth. The moment you step on the Main Street USA in the early morning before the crowds get heavy, that background music playing, the smell of the bakery drifting out, the castle sitting right there at the end of Main Street, that still stops me cold every single time. 30 years in, and that moment still works for me. The nighttime experience is still extraordinary. And here's a little insider secret while I'm at it. Skip the hub for fireworks. It's packed. Instead, find yourself a spot at the beginning of Main Street where you could still get the view of the castle, or better yet, make your way over to the Grand Floridian or the Polynesian and watch it from their beach. Watching the fireworks over the Seven Seas Lagoon with a drink in your hand and the warm Florida air around you just changes it. I promise you, there is nothing like it anywhere else on the planet. Disney still does atmosphere better than anyone, and I've never seen anyone come close. And the cast members, I tell you, this is the thing that surprises me most still. On our last trip, my wife was exhausted and honestly a little overwhelmed. It had been a long day, and a cast member in Magic Kingdom noticed. Just noticed. Didn't make a production of it. Quietly handed her a small roll of Mickey stickers because she had told her she was a teacher while they were talking. It wasn't anything major, but I remember watching my wife's face change. That human layer is still alive at Walt Disney World, and it matters more than any ride. The newer attractions are also generally extraordinary. Rise of the Resistance, Guardian of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind are two of the most technically impressive theme park experiences ever built anywhere in the world. That's not nostalgia talking. That's just the truth. The magic is still there, absolutely and completely there. So, if the magic is still there, why does it feel different? I think it's this. The magic used to find you. Now you have to find it. That's the shift. That's what's changed. When the experience was simpler and slower, the park itself created the conditions for magical moments. The friction of wondering, of waiting, of not knowing, that friction is what made the surprises land so hard. Now those moments still exist, but you have to choose to be open to them. You have to decide to put down the phone, to skip the optimization, to wonder instead of execute your touring plan. The magic didn't leave, but it stopped being automatic. And for longtime fans, people who came up in an era where it was automatic, that adjustment is real. It's a small grief, honestly. Not a tragedy, but a grief. Because you're not just visiting a theme park. We're visiting a place that holds 30 years of our own memories. And when the place changes, those memories feel a little further away. I still go to Disney World, and I'll keep going. And I still try to find that feeling on every single trip. Sometimes it's a planned moment. Sometimes it catches me completely off guard at 9:30 at night on the People Mover, looking out over Tomorrowland while the lights turn everything gold. That's still magic, and it still grabs me every single time. But I think the healthiest thing longtime Disney fans can do, and maybe this includes you, is to let go of the version of Disney World that exists in your memory and let the version that exists right now be its own thing. Not better, not worse, just different. And still, somehow worth every single trip. I'd love to know where you land on this. Do you feel the shift I'm talking about? Or does Disney still hit exactly the same way it did for you? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely read every single one. And if this video connected with you, hit the like button and subscribe to All About the Duck. I post new content every week, and the next video in this series is one I think you're really going to want to see. And as always, see you real soon.